everybody, this is Robbie, and welcome to the finale of this year's Neural Network November. Now, last year I ended off Neural Network November by reading the first 50 chapters of RWBY by AI, which is where AI generated some RWBY fanfic. But that was when I had, very little understanding of the actual show. Over this past year, I've been watching and reacting to the RWBY show, all the volumes, and so now I have an understanding for this show, which is going to be pretty fun in reading all this to see what happens. So, without further ado, let's do this. And if you like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified about my latest videos. If you like this video, hit the like button, comment about what you think of this, and be sure to share this video on Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. Let's start with Chapter 51. Pyrrha let out a shaky breath and began to slowly turn to the chamber that had B housing the cloaked man. "Let me go!" she shouted. I don't know if I do a good Pyrrha voice. I don't know if I do a good any of them voice. I don't know. Her feet started moving as if they had their own life, and her entire... That's a way to phrase that. And her entire body tensed as the woman stepped forward. In the dim light, Pyrrha could see what looked to be the same as last time. However, the woman had 2 bullet holes in her shoulder, not to mention what appeared to be several slices across her flesh. So whoever that is, she is dead. Damn. Wow. Dire situation to be in. Let's move on to the next chapter. Huh? Weiss eventually finds her way back to Beacon Academy, where she's made a member of a shadow organization led by Pyranikos. They're all under the command of General Ironwood. No elaboration necessary there. How they came into agreement upon being led by Ironwood or any of that. Just... okay. If RWBY could harness her insane power and do just one other thing, she'd be the most powerful being in the universe. I mean, I guess the Silver Rise is an insane power. And even if with that power, there's so much more to this. Being Ruby Rose had become so much more than she ever expected. She was fierce, loyal, desperate, heartbroken, and above all else, she had the sense that she wanted to make a difference in the world. So that kind of just sums up Volume 9, RWBY, in a nutshell. Although... I don't know. Yang's tears were having mixed reactions. What? As if the tears... And it's like... Oh, I don't know what's happening. What's going on? This feels weird. It's not that Yang was sad about RWBY leaving, as sad as that was. Yang was sad about how the next chapter of their life would be. There was a silence, and Yang looked up. Weiss was crying, but she was holding back, and there were tears in her eyes. Okay, where's RWBY going then? I mean, closest I can think of is the Volume 4 stuff, but that's not what's happening here. Whatever. Atlas is a dangerous place, yeah, that's for sure. But one thing is for sure, there will always be an enemy for you to fight. I mean, I guess. War is coming, and in the wake of this cataclysm, each nation of Remnant has been broken and forced to band together, forging a path to their survival. But as the years go by, the number of troops in Atlas is dwindling, while the amount of refugees are growing. Damn, that's just... wow, the situation's that dire. Again. Cinder made no reply to whatever the hell was said. RWBY grit her teeth as a headache made itself known. She closed her eyes and brought her hands up, clenching them into fists. After a moment's hesitation, RWBY began to bring her hand down, intending to pound Cinder. Wow. Different Volume 3 one or something? I don't know. Salem knows Captain Roman Torchwick. Captain Roman Torchwick. Captain, wow. Is driven by a destructive fury and his great disdain for all people. Yeah. She knows why Schnee is a scholar and wife to someone with an intense loyalty for her people, especially her younger sister. Younger sister? No, Winter's older than her. Yeah, Winter's older than Weiss. So that got that wrong. And she knows Ozpin is a skilled leader who also prefers to take a back seat when it comes to the direct fighting. She knows the others, but she doesn't let their misfortunes seep into her own heart. Yeah, Salem has enough of that to go at already, but she doesn't need any more. Schnee has not been told anything about this mission, and the basics of what happened is still unclear to her. Shnee. She can't even... The AI isn't bothering to call her by her full name. That's kind of disrespectful. She receives a video message from Cinderfall and is told that they will meet at the very same place RWBY supposedly died. Wow. Okay, RWBY is just dead in this. Again, some of these would make for good stories, written by humans, of course, but, like, some of these have potential. It's kind of why it's women. It's so short. Neo took the chance to test its properties as she placed it inside of her gear and charged it up. Pronoun game. Not really pronoun game, just like... Yeah, pronoun game. What is it? She was shocked at what happened. The light lighting above her faltered for a brief moment. Without a moment's thought, Neo thrust the top of her weapon into the ground and tapped into the emerald energy, creating a 10-foot-high light in the dome around her. Her face, however, was not visible, buried under the fog. As her suit dissipated, the light did too, until only a few sparks lingered. Neo looked around, finding no sign of her adversary. Whoever that is, it's probably RWBY. That's the person that Neo has it out for in the show. Taking advantage of the moment, she charged up her last bolt and leapt forward, firing a bolt from her weapon before she reached the edge. The bolt flew straight into through the fog and slammed into a well, instantly shutting it off. Neo smiled. I guess the well was pretty important. Not having any female friends, this sparked the desire within Nora to become friends with Blake. During this time, Nora became very friendly with Blake's former partner/teammate Sun Wukong. This friendship allowed her to finally gain a girlfriend, Ruby Rose. Okay. Okay, so, to recap, Nora becomes friends with Blake, then becomes friends with Sun Wukong, and then both of those things allow her to gain Ruby Rose as a girlfriend. Which, by the way, Nora/RWBY as like a relationship dynamic would be really interesting. Probably very high energy, honestly. That'd be interesting to see. Ren and Nora were beaten, but Pure is trapped in another realm. Wow, okay. And while Remnant is almost over, as if it's a TV show or something, it's never been more uncertain as the Huntsman race begins to question the terms of their involvement in the conflicts happening in Remnant. I'm questioning that sentence a little. A tragedy at Beacon has threatened their very existence. The closest thing there would be the fall of Beacon. Yes, spoilers. I forgot to mention spoilers. It is also discovered that Penny died in the Battle of Haven. I mean, a bit off there. She actually died earlier, but then again, these are alternate universes. So, from the wounds she received from Adam, and then his wife Winter is pregnant. What? Whoa! Whoa! What? First of all, Adam should not be in a relationship with anybody. He should be in a relationship with therapy. It's like him and Winter. That's such a weird pairing. And also pregnant. Whoa, boy. After this, Pyrrha will receive resistance from Ren after she realizes that Blake and Yang can't be trusted anymore. What did they do? What did they do? She will turn to them for help in the crisis with what she learns from the Grimm and Vale. I don't think she's learning much unless it's one of those talking Grimm. And even then, those are very powerful. So, yeah, I don't think you'll be learning much. What the fuck is this? Adam and his wife, Winter. The fuck? Whoa, boy. Alright. But Summer Rose never comes home. Ruby awakens to find that her mother's destiny was already written. Zwei reveals it through his unborn baby. Zwei is a dog. I mean, I think Zwei's a he. I don't think, actually, Zwei doesn't really appear after Volume 2. Huh. Alone with her corpse, Summer Rose dreamed a wish and it came true, but wait, what? And the desire of a dying mother came true too. I mean, that's what Summer Rose is! But by the time she could make it true, she was gone. The hope of her dying wish was all that she had left to cling on to in the afterlife. A wish that Ruby could only hope to be able to bring back. With Zwei's help, Ruby invents the most elaborate plan. I guess by that, Ruby's like talking to Zwei and coming up with ideas while thinking, "Oh, thanks, Zwei! That's really cool!" type deal. And as as she knows how much it hurts Summer to be gone. For though Yang is more than enough to fill in Summer's shoes, okay, Summer needed Ruby there. In the afterlife, I think this AI is confused. To keep the team strong, Ruby will do it. Die? Hope not. The hell? Tipped to be the next Dragon Knight, Ruby Rose is the most talented member of the team and is expected to one day be a leader. However, when the Brotherhood of Steel comes, never heard of that in the show before, they find their brothers and sisters on the receiving end of her wrath. Ruby has no choice but to leave her home and join them. She doesn't have time to think about the ways her life will change, because her life will never be the same again. Okay? Raven passes on a message to Yang and Blake, telling them to get into a warlord's palace in Mistral to free their friend, whoever that is, that could be anybody. The group reach the palace to find the warlord has been slain. Well, I mean, I guess that takes care of that. It's already been slain, the hell? Right. When they managed to break through and get close to her, Nora felt a pang of pain run through her. She screamed out in agony, but the pain stopped when she saw the armor around her leg, so they had cut through it after all. She'd expected the metal to look dull and brittle from years of wear, but it didn't look like anything had happened to it. She'd seen people get their legs torn off in battle, and they sure looked like they'd been burned to the bone. That didn't seem to be the case. The only reason she knew this was because when the arrow had passed through it, it hadn't removed the armor. But that was not what had sent Nora to her knees. It was the fact that she'd just been shot. Oh, that escalated very quickly from the already escalation. The armor, unharmed by the arrow, had taken the brunt of the hit. It was enough to break the arrow shaft and jolt her body with such force, she fell to the ground and lost the power of thought, forcing her mind to create a new form. What the hell? Create a new form? What is that? What? Again, I think this AI is confused. It was safe to say that what Ozpin had said to Glinda had her truly devastated. She turned to the side and stared at the ground. I'm sorry. I will finish what I started. I don't even know if that's a good Glinda voice. It's been a very long time since she was in the show. Anyway, what did Ozpin say? Again, left vague, very vague. Please, don't make me find you! Raven's voice cracked. She couldn't keep up the mask anymore. Cinder knew who she was. Ah, yeah, the Spring Maiden type deal. And she did it on purpose. She had to figure out a plan to get out of the mansion. Huh. She had to. Her heart skipped a beat. She thought about escaping with one of the statues. She didn't know how she would do it, but it was worth a try. I guess one of those statues is important? But then again, if her heart skipped a beat, when thinking about that, she could be thinking about other things with the statues. Let's move on. Ruby gloats, knowing that she will win easily. Cinder retaliates by creating an explosive collar around Ruby's neck and allowing her to race forward into the explosion. Cinder wins the duel, but when she looked at Ruby's shocked face, Cinder has second thoughts and says that the sudden death in combat has affected her as well. Cinder resolves to let Ruby live. Okay, so it's a kinda... Now Cinder won that. Blake sat on the floor with a cry. She was afraid, and having a hard time controlling her anger. The urge to lash out at Weiss was becoming more and more tempting. Ah, this must be during Volume 1 then. And, during the confrontation and type deal. Yeah, this must be during Volume 1. Salem thought it was ironic that she had lost her left arm and had no friends. I mean, when you're trying to destroy the world with those 4 relics, you're kind of not having a lot of options. She sounds like a bit of a pansy. You shouldn't judge people before you have met them, Pyrrha said. I don't mean you. You're probably a nice person. Yes, Salem, don't worry. Pyrrha thinks you're probably a nice person underneath all the everything. But like I said, Salem said, I've been here and longer than you. So back to the story, I won't give you the pleasure of seeing my tattoo. Salem in a tattoo parlor is very funny to me. Just like this being, this leader of all the beings of darkness being like, I want a tattoo on my arm. I want it to look badass and cool. Weiss has seen the speech of her father and decided that their family needed to become more serious. More serious. More serious. Her family needs to be more serious. Okay. They need to be more like a new organization. And with that, she proposed the idea to her father to make a business empire. Ruby suggested the same to her mother. And after a few back and forths, they came up with the idea to create a restaurant where adults could hang out with the lovable children. Alarm bells! Alarm bells! Yeah, where grown adults could hang out with the lovable children. I'm sure nothing will go wrong with this concept at all. Oh, God. Well, oh, God. What the fuck? Okay. Oh, boy, this AI is getting wild in the second half. All that changed when she found out that she had less than 24 hours before she could be launched out of the atmosphere on the Crescent Rose. What? It's acting like the Crescent Rose is a ship or something, or a rocket ship. Blake let out a sigh as she remembered how she had done this hundreds of times in her own life. She just wasn't sure how they could win, much less beat Roman. So this would probably take place during Volume 2, primarily, and Volume 3. Emerald recovered, pushed it off, and crashed through the side of a nearby building. She leapt at Weiss, who took a step back as the green-haired girl slammed into her. Weiss staggered to one knee, clutching her stomach in pain as Emerald howled in rage. The white-haired girl snarled, attacking and slashing. Damn, both of them are out to kill in this chapter. This message is also the first time Weiss received the 2 sentences in a row from her father. As soon as she realized what she heard, she started to panic, starting to reach out to the airship by her own. By her own, okay. John also knew that Pyrrha was far more often than not on her own in her quarters. So when John couldn't get her with a direct call, he knew he had to break down and break Pyrrha's door down. Wow. Can't get her with a direct call? No other choice but to break down the door. But for a little girl who has lost so much, life can be a struggle. Still, her somber demeanor hasn't changed a bit, for when Ruby encounters the mysterious Naze... Wow, the AI is creating its own character. I didn't think it'd do that. A ruthless warlord from the east, she discovers a new purpose, embracing her destiny. Ruby will train in her combat knives and school uniform for ancient relics of an ancient war and a destiny beyond her imagination. Wow, okay. And even though Pyranikos is confused, thinking about who she really is, and wondering if she's a semblance, if she is a semblance. Okay. That doesn't stop her from wanting to save Ruby Rose from what Ruby feels like she has to do to ensure that she doesn't end up alone again. And Yang, even though she lost what she loves in one fall, her entire being, she is a constant reminder of all that war stands for. Strong, woman, and team. It's not even just strength, it's just strong. And team. What? So, strength, woman, and team. Okay? Osmond never sees her coming, and as the door slams open, he screams a startled word in surprise. What are you doing here, Raven? I expected you much sooner. Raven's face registers deep regret as she falls to her knees. I'm sorry, Professor. I'm so sorry. I don't even know. Yeah, I'm kind of sorry, too. I'm wondering if I'm doing a good Raven voice or not. But something got into Ruby, and I don't know what it is. Yang isn't ready to drop the matter, though. Wait, how'd you get in here? The doors and windows are a lot tight. It wasn't just you and Dad, was it? All 3 of you? Raven closes her eyes. I opened a portal, so at least he's getting that right, because Raven can open portals in the main show, so at least you got that right. Life slowly starts to fill her days. Willow's attracted to Salem's small community of like-minded people. I mean, if by like-minded people you mean... Unless Salem's formed a cult. Wonder if the... I don't know, that could happen. Maybe. That happened once. Her addiction has hit rock bottom, but she also knows there's more ahead of her. Salem will be as strong as it gets. The cure is in the bag. Okay, is Salem an addiction now or something? I don't know the context, so I'm just going to move on. Hazel reveals his long-term plan to achieve godhood by destroying all humans with his massive black hole. Hazel wanted a lot of things. I don't think he wanted to be a god. After the fight, Osmond begins looking for his missing assistants and eventually finds them being held captive by a man claiming to be from an international organization. Wow, okay. So there's conspiracies and shit going on. Alright. After the White Fang attack, Hoffman confronts Ruby and tells her that no longer will she feel safe in Beacon, and that he does not trust her. Okay. He also tells her that she should have stayed in his dormitory. Ruby responds angrily by knocking him unconscious, a way to earn back his trust, and taking off with Blake. Also, those two are going to be running away together. Okay. I mean, there'd probably be more context as to why Osmond feels the way he does. Just a lot of stuff happening. So, you know, again, if that's a story of its own, I'd like to read it. Alright. Ruby took a seat, setting her computer behind her, studying the atmosphere. So, the first objective is to find the woman behind the various popsicle stick sculptures. That is so random. Then, once found, get her to join our side. I don't know if I'm doing a good Ruby voice. I don't know if I'm doing a good anything in terms of the voices. Bear with me, these are the voices I'm using. She announced, putting her headphones over her ears and cranking the volume to max. Oh, her ears are not gonna like that. So, is the popsicle stick idea yours? Osmond asked, taking a seat next to her. Ruby sat down at the clock before answering. Nah, Blake's the one that had the idea, and that's actually my idea as well. She gave an awkward shrug. I saw Blake's plate of popsicle sticks and thought it would make the perfect hook to make sure you guys don't stab yourselves. What? Osmond raised an eyebrow at her. Interesting. Yeah, interesting sure is a word to use. Popsicle stick sculptures. Why is a woman... What? I kind of want to know why a woman's just making various popsicle stick sculptures. Like, what? That never happened in the show. I mean, of course that never happened in the show. That's fan fiction for you. I mean, if you looked at it and went, that never happened in the show, you'd kind of just be a freaking broken record at that point. But, like, what? What the popsicle stick? It's so random. Cinder is sure this is just the thing that she's been looking for to ease her friend's angst as well as her own. There's just one problem. Magic is a weapon, and that weapon has Cinder's name on it. I mean, if you call the maiden powers magic, then I guess. Anyway, Emerald was then forced to be the slave of Salem, giving her songs, all of which were later stolen from her, after Salem received a devastating blow by one of the singers, and barely saved by Mercury. Emerald was forced to watch Salem's death and her singing of a song she made to Ozma, after which she would burn before dying herself. Okay? So, okay. Come on, Ruby. Even you know that life isn't fair, Salem smiled. So you're not afraid to do the right thing. That even if you're bullied for it, you're stronger for it. But at the same time, you're terrified of breaking the rules. Those are some pretty tall orders, little girl. I don't understand, Ruby gasped. What's the difference between breaking a rule and protecting people from danger? The difference between justice and cruelty, that's what, Salem replied. Not all crimes are equal in themselves. I mean, that is true. How can that be? Ruby protested. To me, a killing is a killing. The difference between justice and cruelty can't be that hard to explain. I mean, no, I'm not gonna just get political here. This is... There's a terrible tendency in young humans to think of cruelty as inherently bad. Cruelty! Cruel is in the word! And cruel is like, you know, you're doing stuff, you're just harming... Cruelty! This is literally the word. That is inherently bad. That's literally its definition. but in truth it's simply a result of being too attentive to their own needs. Young humans think that if they want a treat, they should demand one, and if they don't get it, they should turn to violence. That got kind of deep there for a second. Alright, Cinder really wants to bring everyone down. So the most important thing now is for her to stay alive and lead the crew and remnant, forcing all the leaders and anyone else to submit under their new leader. Because if they don't, her and Penny die. I guess she's holding Penny hostage. And that means she's gonna die too. I mean, yeah, her and Penny, her being Cinder. What? Ruby's nightmares were caused by the pain Pyrrha felt when dying and the guilt she felt in killing her. Ruby realized that every time she sees someone being hurt, she'll turn into her assassin ways and try to kill them no matter who it is. Ruby tries to ignore this, but she knows that she needs to fight against these urges as well as live her life for a little while longer. Damn, that's a curse. So someone's going like, so someone's like hurt. They're like, oh, I gotta kill this person. Like, wow, that is a curse to bear. Summer smiled as she walked back out into the living room. She glanced back to the doorway, watching Raven sleep. Something about it seemed so sad to Summer, she wasn't sure why. She made her way to the front porch, sitting on the bench and sipping out her iced tea. She needed to figure out what was wrong with Raven. Okay, Right before the start of winter, Hazel goes with Ruby to a fortune teller to help her with her imminent battle with a teenage idol. Okay, a teenage idol. Okay. Alright, final stretch. Last 10 chapters, let's go. In an attempt to calm Ren down, John tells him he can go easy on Scarlet. Whoever that is. Another original character or something? He was just trying to make him feel better. I know, Ren snarls and gets out, telling Scarlet to not worry about him anymore. They've got this under control. Whatever the hell it is that's happening. Winter spends most of the trip contemplating things, but ultimately allows John and the others to join them, and a party is born. However, they find no trace of Pyrrha, and slowly begin to doubt that Pyrrha has even made it to the Sea of Storms. The Sea of Storms! Damn, why are they going there? Something desperate's probably happening then. Anyway, when Salem's plan is revealed, Pyrrha uses her semblance to take her down with the remaining Eye of Raven. With Salem's fall, Winter and her friends warn her. How did Winter get roped into Salem's schemes? How did that happen? But still continue the fight with Cinder and the Legion. The plans of Cinder continue to take shape. Cinder summons an army of armored mechanicals to stand against Winter and her allies. Cinder confirms to Winter that they have indeed captured Weiss, but they're still on the lookout for Ruby. Whilst discussing with Emerald and Cinder about how she and her army are planning to beat the Cinder's forces. You're trying to defeat your own forces? The hell? Wonder is told their true plans and intentions. They're planning a mass culling of the civilian population and a general genocide. Damn! Wow, boy. Glinda gets suspicious. He goes to search for them. Whoever they are. They could be anybody. Finding a battle station where they think the others are, but is instead confronted by Salem herself. Glinda and Salem battling each other is a thing I never knew I needed until I want that to happen. I want to know what would happen. Everyone looks to the white-haired mad woman now, looking for any sign that Salem is going to attack. Unfortunately, she hasn't moved a muscle in several seconds. That's not to say she's not listening, though. Her bony hand is on her hip, and a tiny frown is scrunched in her brow as she studies everyone around her. Yeah, this feels like the precursor to a big battle. Alright. As she walks away from the truck, Ruby pushes her hair behind her ears and lets it fall loose to her shoulders. Why are you laughing? She asks, a hint of a smile playing on her lips. Winter takes a breath. This, she holds up her newly commissioned purple dress. The dress that I've been working on since last night. Ruby frowns. I thought you were working on your car. Winter lets out a bark of laughter, her shoulders shaking. I guess that was really funny. The hell? Also, Winter has a car? It's interesting. I don't know if anybody really uses any car vehicles. But again, like, it's been a little while since I've watched the show, though, so... Anyway. Guess I'm not as skilled at mechanical things as I thought. She slips into the truck and pulls the seatbelt around her shoulders before turning and leaning against the door. She peers into the cab. You really think you can handle my SUV, right? SUV? Okay, guess they're driving. We could safely assume that this is the episode that we get more into Raven's backstory. Oh, this kind of feels like Infokit doing you're telling a story and then it suddenly is like, this article was written in 2015, like that. This feels like that. She's the only one in Ty's camp that has seen Summer since they've been apart. She's become a tyrant. Okay, tyrant is a bit much. She's a jerk and she doesn't care about people. This is how she became a successful hunter and lived to be her age. Okay, don't know. Maybe this is like volume 10 theories or something. Osmond reveals that he knew Crow's plan to rescue Summer and actually asked him to do it, to which Crow unhesitantly agreed. Okay, no more elaboration there. Mercury opens up with the forward slash, but Emerald dodges it and moves in to counter him. She throws a right punch at Mercury, but it goes wide of his jaw, and Mercury easily counters with a punch to the gut. Emerald then rushes forward, but Mercury defends well by jabbing at her. He then proceeds to quickly grab her arm and throw a back fist at her jaw. Alright, final chapter, here we go! The final person to join them in the corridor was Ruby Rose, the youngest, the most optimistic, and the most timid of the group. A far cry from the proud warrior who had blasted her way through Vacuo, putting a stop to the Shadowless, whoever they are. Is that a fancy new name for the Grim? At every turn. An impossible feat that she herself had to make several times. Now she was merely a young girl, might have lost in her own mind. Like many others, the cause of her despair had been due to the death of her sister. Wow, Yang's dead in this one. Alright, and that is fully it for this fanfic. What do I think? I mean, it's AI generated. It's vague. It sometimes doesn't know what it's doing. It does weird shit with the characters that doesn't line up with the show. What else would you expect from AI generated stuff? And with that, this year's Neural Network November has come to an end. Thank you so much for watching all of this, and I'll see you next time for games and dominoes and stuff. Bye-bye!